have a job, you're paying bills, and your family is proud of you. By every measure people around you are using, you're doing well. And yet, there is something underneath that. A desire that keeps resurfacing, and knowing that this is not everything, there has to be more. And then there's that pull towards more. More income, more freedom, more purpose, a business, wealth. And every time it surfaces, guilt follows as well. Because you remember where you came from. Because you know people who would genuinely trade places with you. And because part of you is saying, who am I to want more when I already have this much? This is Hello Misola, and you're welcome to another episode. Now, I want to address that guilt today because this is not humility. It's a trap, and I'm going to tell you exactly why and what to do instead. Let us read today's letter, and it's from someone who is grateful and restless at the same time, just like you. Hello Misola, I have a stable job that pays well enough to cover my bills and send a little back home every month. My family is proud of me. By immigrant standards, I am doing okay, but I want more. I want to start a business. I want to build real wealth. I want financial freedom. And every time I have those thoughts, I feel guilty. I think about people back home who are struggling, and I think, who am I to want more when I already have so much compared to them? Part of me says I should just be content and grateful. And another part of me is saying God didn't bring me all this way just to settle for okay. How do you appreciate what you have while still pursuing what you were made for? Very good question. And this letter is for more people than they are willing to admit it. So thank you for having the courage to send it. Now let's dig in and let's dissect this letter. I want to be honest with you. This desire is not greed, it's not ingratitude, it's not selfishness, and it's not something you need to apologize for or water down. That desire is your next level knocking. It is purpose knocking at your door. And my question to you is, are you going to answer the door or not? And here's what I also want you to understand. That guilt you're feeling is coming from a mental frame that says wanting more is taken from someone else. That mindset, that frame, that mentality is wrong. You can be deeply grateful for everything you have and still refuse to settle. These two things do not cancel one another out. In fact, real gratitude produces a desire for more. It just catapults you to the next level. Because when you truly understand how much you've been given, you feel the responsibility to do something with it, not to hoard it. There's also a version of false humility that dresses itself up as contentment. And you'll be like, I have enough, so I don't want any more. But what that thing is actually doing is keeping you small. And it's also because if anybody's thinking like that, they are still thinking from the place of individualism and not community. Yes, if you're thinking like, okay, I just came, me, myself, and I, soft life and all that, you have enough. Let's think community. And you've already said it. God did not bring you this far to just settle. So sit on that, act on that, and let's move on to the kingdom perspective and hear what God has to say. So I'm going to read John chapter 10 verse 10, and it says, I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. Read it again. Have life more abundantly. It's not just talking about money. Let's be real. It's talking about life. So whatever it is, you understand that you have a God who is abundant. He's not just, okay, let's just go by. Let's just settle for whatever it is. That is mediocrity. Abundance is not mediocrity. He's not a God of just enough. He's not a God of barely managing. And he's not a God of okay. He is your overflow God. Your cup runneth over. Have you forgotten that passage? So when you settle for basic and you're just getting by, when you suppress that desire to want more, what are you saying about the God that you worship? You're saying, my God is an okay God. My God is okay with me just treading by, getting month after month, getting by and saving just a few £100 here and there. Let me shift your perspective and show you how things change when you stop looking at just yourself as an individual and your close family and putting food on the table, being able to afford the holidays and all of that. Think beyond yourself for a moment. How many lives could your wealth change? How can you finance the spread of the kingdom? That's expensive. It's not cheap to host a crusade. I don't know how much it is because I've never hosted one and I've never even thought about it, so I've never researched. But I know that it's not cheap. It's not cheap to help people who are struggling. It's not cheap to feed children who are hungry. You need resources for that. And how can you fund these things when you're just getting by? How can you help the people? How can you give? How can you be an example of your God? How can you be Christ-like when you're just getting by, when you have just enough to pay the bills, just enough to do this, just enough to do that, because you're only thinking within the confines of yourself. The desire to want more, when it is rooted in kingdom purpose, when it is for something beyond yourself, is not greed. It is purpose, it is assignment. So I have 3 steps that can help you get started to move from just having that desire to doing the thing to change your life and getting that more that you're wanting. Step 1, shift your mindset from me to us. Every time the guilt surfaces, every time you catch yourself thinking, who am I to want more? Replace that question with a different ask. Who is waiting on me? Who is tied to me that is waiting for me to come and help them get away from where they are living and shift them to another perspective, or shift them to another stage or another level? Who are the people that you are called to serve? Who are the people that the problems they're facing keeps you up at night? You are consistently worried about what these people are going through. Whose problems are you uniquely equipped to solve? Questions for you to answer. Sit down, reflect on them and answer. And when you now understand that, okay, these are the people I need to help, these are the challenges they're going through, you kind of now have an idea as to how much it would cost for you to consistently do this, on a permanent basis. Then you realize that, oh yeah, there's work to do. It's beyond me now. Step 2, go all in on purpose. Not hustle, purpose. There's a difference. As far as I'm going to assume is that you've been hustling because you have a job, you have this, you've got it, you've done well for yourself. With God or on your own, you've done well for yourself. It's now time to switch it and surrender fully to God, and let's just go all in on purpose. So hustle is doing everything and hoping something sticks. And I want you to understand this as you're about to venture into from desiring more to doing the thing that will get you more. You don't want to hustle. And purpose is identifying that specific thing that you're genuinely fascinated by, the specific people that you're called to serve, and going deep down on that one thing with everything that you have. So ask yourself, what am I genuinely drawn to? And what problems do my people face that I know how to solve? Or am I willing to learn how to solve? What would I consistently do if money was not a problem? That is usually the starting point of your assignment. Impact and increase go hand in hand. Money alone will not satisfy the desire for wanting more. So if you chase the bag only, fulfillment never arrives, because it was never about the bag. Fulfillment comes with purpose and then money follows. This is how you change your money story, ladies and gentlemen. Step 3, set your big goals and break them down. Big vision is not enough on its own, which is why it tends to overwhelm people and they just stay stuck and they don't do it. You have to break it down to short, medium, and long-term goals. Let me give you an example for myself. I have a goal to have, I don't know, would you call this an empire? I want to have a massive, like hospitality, what you call it, like a resort. I want to have a resort back home in Nigeria. I also want to have like a media company. We also have a service accommodation company, and I want to go all in on property, sourcing service accommodation for investors. But beyond that, we also want to invest ourselves. Now that's massive. That's a lot. Then I also want to have a coffee business. And looking at all these things, it's overwhelming. I've just said too much in one sentence. Where am I going to do it with just one person? Even if I say I had the funds right now, how am I going to do it? Just one resource, just me. And it's capital intensive. All of this is, how do you build a resort? It's capital intensive. I don't have the resources to do that. But what can I do? I can break it down into actionable steps. Did I add that I want to have my own ministry where I help immigrants get some sort of transformation that they desire? And that's what I'm doing now. So what am I doing? I started, when I say ministry, I don't mean a church. Let me just correct that. But now I have started with just one thing. I have started with Hello Misola, this platform, this project that is going on. So from then on, once we have mastered this, we have a rhythm, we then move on to the next thing. What does that mean? There are actionable steps. What's the actionable step that I can work on? Yes, I want to have those massive things. It's at the back of my mind, but I've forgotten about it right now. I've written it down. I've forgotten about it. And let's just do these little things that will get me there at some point. So my actionable step right now is to show up as consistently as possible and build a community of immigrants so that we can help one another out. Remember, we're shifting from individualism to community. Assignment for you: break down your massive goals. And when you think about it, because of how massive that idea is, and that is purpose as well, it kind of puts you off because you're like, what do I do? Where do I get the money? How do I start? Why don't you break it down? There's the journey on how to get to Z, but before you get to Z, you have to start from A, get through B, all the way to PQR before you get to Z. Break it down, small actionable steps, and then, segregate them into short term, which is like something you can achieve in the next 6 months to 1 year. Then there's medium term, 2 to 3 years, or 2 to 5 years, and then long term, 5 years and beyond, and get started doing that. That is how you achieve more. And so here's the reset that I want to leave you with today. This guilt will keep you swimming in mediocrity if you let it. You are not brought all this way across oceans through one visa, payment, and process after another, through the sacrifices, through everything you have navigated to be here today, to just be okay, to just settle. You were brought here for more. You were brought here for your assignment, for the people who are waiting on you, for the kingdom work that needs to be financed. So go all in, refuse the guilt, chase purpose, not the bag, and do the thing that lights you up. Carry out your assignment and watch your money story evolve. So this brings us to the end of another video, another episode. If you have a challenge, you have a problem that you're currently going through, and you want us to talk about it in one of these videos, click the link in the description and send me your letter. Of course, it would be anonymous if you want me to. I don't really call out the names of people here anyway, so it's typically anonymous. Send me your letter and share this video with anybody who you know. Like, you're my friend, you're in my corner, we think alike, and we're not going to settle for less because we want more. Then share this video with them so that they can get started and start building the life that they desire, they deserve, and they can live a life of impact and increase and change their money story as well. But other than that, please subscribe to Hello Misola if you've not subscribed. I am building a community here and I would love for you to join this community. And like this video, click the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.